Hello. Hey, we're done. Episode, what are we doing now? 19 in the bag, 20 coming up. What in the Wuhan is going on here? We said tonight. So the party went down into the hospice and discovered that there's a cultist's lair underneath it, and also have learned that the doctor may or may not be a Red Mantis assassin. So revealing that a little early, but I'm trying to keep things moving forward. But let's go through the sheet. So we were basically doing the hospice of the Blessed Maiden. It's a sick place. Experiments are going on. They have to figure out how to get downstairs. Spoiler alert: they talked their way through it mostly. Intimidation and subterfuge, and it's a bit of a surprise. But let's talk conversion. So, in order to make the stats for Brunhilde, the tough guard, nurse lady at the front gate, I used a black gauntlet out of Descent into Avernus. I think that's where I got that from. Thank you for sponsoring and for all the success that these channels have, or these videos have had on the channel and stuff. We've got all the content unlocked. So even though I haven't played DIA yet, I have it. So it's pretty easy to take this, modify it, reuse it. Basically, they had a charlatan, more of a thief in the Pathfinder materials. I went with more of a cleric just to make sure that she'd be tougher. They didn't fight her. For the Grey Maiden foot soldiers, I used veterans, but then I swapped out all of their equipment to match the equipment described and modified the stats a little bit. So, I mean, they're rocking a thick AC and lots of hit points. Would have been tough melee combatants. The Queen's physicians are spies. Raynar is an assassin, and he's got some gear. So I applied the effects of all of that. The zombies downstairs, I used some special zombies that I found in another book. Zombie plague spreaders. Seemed very, very on the nose there. For the cultists, I went back to the black gauntlet, swapped in a scythe, which I just modified from a halberd, because it's the big artistic. I'm trying to think of a word to use that's not disparaging to someone, and I can't, so I'm just moving on. But the unrealistic weapons used in fantasy scythe, right? Not the sickle cutting grass type thing. For Rolf, I used a necromancer wizard. He had some abilities, some equipment that buffed his constitution and such. So I did my best. I wound up giving him a belt of dwarven kind for that specific constitution one, and I'm not thematically all that comfortable with it, but it's fine. It's a magic item. Swapped it out. Moving on. There's another Robe of Bones. This one I already had modified Robe of Bones, so just modified it again. This one has fewer patches left on it. For the guy they're looking for, I used noble stats. There is a vampire down there. He's the lord of the vampires that they tried to kill earlier, and he is Strahd level power. So they're level 7. They could survive that fight, but they don't have any of the gear, and a lot of them aren't rocking the right kinds of damage. So I don't know if they do fight him. That would go badly. Oh, excuse me. That may be difficult. So for the Leucodemon, it's like a horse-headed demon. I just used the stats of Varrock. Mostly I did this because they have plague abilities, and there was a horned demon that I could have otherwise used, but it wasn't quite as strong as Varrock. So for that conversion, I swapped in and I modified pretty extensively, but that was the basis, the starter point for that. For the Andazen, the boss lady down there, I started with the War Priest, swapping out her items, scythe, a vicious scythe, instead of the hammer that she should have otherwise had. Then she transforms, and I used the stats for an Ultraloth. Again, just trying to find things that hit on similar notes, in a sort of file the serial numbers off kind of way. So you'll see all that when we play next week. But those were the conversion activities I did there. Not a ton of new items or anything, mostly swaps for the prep. For pins, I mean, I'm not going to read all of these to you, but like I had to make a vicious sword item, I had to make the scythe item as mentioned. All of these creatures are in there. Um, you know, tons of pins ready. I did both levels, assuming that once they started, it would go on. And I actually warned the party about this. I said, if we start this, we probably won't get a chance to rest, so be cautious. And these are stacked. These encounters are stacked. The CR is 2, if not 4, if not 6 levels higher than they are. So it's a big party, and I don't really know how it's going to measure up. Maybe they'll blow right through it. I don't think so. Maybe. They've got a better chance since they were basically going in there fresh. So yeah, what did I expect to happen? They can't really talk their way past the lady at the front desk. I expected them to fight. Thought there might be sneakery. There was only sneakery. The doctor presented his lie about the were-rats. That all went according to book. And then, yeah, we ultimately wound up breaking before the deadly crawl through the basement. Not bad. I mean, other than there being no combat, which I expected, it mostly went according to plan. Make a note of that. So that's it. If you watch the stream tonight, I'm a little low energy. It's not feeling well for some reason. Having trouble keeping my thoughts straight too. So I stumbled, and delivery wasn't quite as good as I'd hoped. But there's always next week. So, as always, comments, questions, concerns, whatever. You know the drill. Thanks, everybody. Have a great week. We'll see you next week.